If you're over 40 with around $50,000 saved and you've been telling yourself the window to retire comfortably is closing, I want to show you the math before you write it off. Because the math is more forgiving than most people think, and most people never actually run it. For context, I just turned 40. I'm not teaching this from the other side of the finish line. My net worth is just about 70% of the way to my first milestone of $1 million net worth. I have $100,000 in a Roth IRA compounding untouched, $85,000 in a taxable brokerage account generating current income, and my wife and I are preparing to build a real estate business together that changes our income trajectory significantly. We already have $4,600 a month in passive income running against $33,000 a year in essential household expenses. The gap between those two numbers is the one we're actively closing right now. The point isn't that my numbers are your numbers. The point is that at 40, with a target and a plan and the right framework, the timeline is real. That's what this video is about. By the end, you'll know your FIRE number, how to work backwards from it to a specific monthly contribution rate tonight, and the structural reason most commission earners miss their number even when the earning capacity is clearly there. I work with sales professionals on managing variable income. I've watched commission earners clear six figures and still arrive at 45 with almost nothing saved. Not because they didn't earn enough, because no structure was waiting to catch the income when it came in. I don't want that to happen to you. So let's get into it, starting with the framework. FIRE stands for financial independence, retire early. Three versions matter for most people, and the one you choose changes your target number by hundreds of thousands of dollars. So this is the decision worth making before anything else. Traditional FIRE. Build a portfolio 25 times your annual expenses and withdraw 4% per year while the portfolio continues to grow. If your household costs $60,000 a year to run, your target is $1.5 million. The portfolio funds the lifestyle indefinitely, in theory. Barista FIRE. Build to 10 to 15 times your annual expenses and supplement with part-time income you actually enjoy. The portfolio doesn't have to carry the full weight because you're still earning something on your own terms, doing work you choose rather than work you need to do. Geo FIRE. Build to 10 to 20 times your annual expenses and relocate to a lower cost of living area. The same portfolio funds a dramatically different lifestyle when monthly overhead drops. The math shifts significantly when your annual expenses do. Here's the commission income specific angle most retirement content misses. A salary person's FIRE timeline is constrained by a ceiling. Their income lever moves slowly. A commission earner's ceiling is different. A strong year doesn't just feel good, it can literally compress a 15-year FIRE timeline into 10 if the surplus gets allocated before lifestyle absorbs it. The income variability that makes planning harder also creates an acceleration opportunity salaried people simply don't have. My own situation maps to Barista FIRE more precisely than I expected. My household essential expenses run about 33 grand a year. At 15 times that, the portfolio target is around $495,000. I already have $185,000 in investment accounts working towards that number. Now we're in the early stages of building the real estate business together at the same time, which means that income covers the household while the investment accounts compound. We're closing the gap on the capital target with our contributions while reinvesting the dividend income back into the portfolio. That's the commission income version of Barista FIRE. You use the income capacity of your career to fund the building phase while the portfolio grows towards the coverage number. My longer range freedom number is between 3 million and 5 million. But the milestone that changes how I operate today isn't that number. It's the point where investment income covers 33 grand in essential expenses. That's already within reach, and it's a far more motivating near-term target than a number a decade away. Now, before moving on, decide which FIRE version fits your life. Write it down. It's the most important decision in this video. And drop in the comments which one you're working towards, traditional, barista, or geo. That single answer changes your freedom number by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, let's calculate your freedom number. Your freedom number is the portfolio size that makes your chosen FIRE version work. Here's how to get there. Start with your actual annual expenses, not your income and not what you wish you spent, what you genuinely spend in a year to maintain your current lifestyle. If you don't have this number, pull 3 months of bank and credit card statements and multiply by 4. A rough number is better than no number. Keep it simple so you can focus on taking action instead of living in a spreadsheet playing what if. Apply your FIRE multiplier. Traditional, multiply by 25. Barista, multiply by 12 to 15 depending on your part-time income target. Geo, multiply by 10 to 15 depending on where you're planning to go. Annual expenses of $60,000 times 25 is $1.5 million for traditional FIRE. The same $60,000 times 12 is $720,000 for Barista FIRE if you're covering $25,000 from active income. A $50,000 starting point against $1.5 million looks like a long road. Against $720,000, it looks completely different. The version you choose matters more than almost any other variable in this math. Write down your freedom number. That's your target. Post in the comments below. Now, this is the section most people skip, and it's the one that determines whether you actually retire in 10 years or 20. Use a compound interest calculator to get a clear picture of what it will take on your part to reach your goal. There's plenty of free tools out there. I love using calculator.net, which has tons of free financial calculators to choose from. Here's how you create a simple plan. Plug in your starting balance, a conservative growth assumption, and a monthly contribution number. Adjust the contribution until the projected balance matches your freedom number. That's your monthly target. Takes about 5 minutes. Now, my wife and I, we ran this together. We sat down, plugged in our actual expenses, our real starting balance, and what our real estate income combined with our existing investment base meant for the timeline. The calculator gave us a number to act on instead of a vague aspiration. That's the version of this exercise I want you to do tonight with your partner if you have one. 2 people aligned on a freedom number and a monthly contribution target make completely different financial decisions than 2 people who've never had that conversation. Now, here's the variable that actually controls the timeline more than any investment strategy can: your savings rate, the percentage of income you direct before lifestyle claims it. In my opinion, the savings rate is the most important factor to your success, not just your investment rate of return. Here's what the math shows across different income levels and savings rates, and why the gap between earning and spending matters more than the income number itself. Now, a rep earning $80,000 a year who saves 10% is putting away $8,000 annually. At 20%, it's $16,000. At 40%, it's $32,000. A sales rep earning $150,000 a year at 10% is $15,000. But that same rep at 40% is $60,000 directed towards the freedom number every year. The income level matters. The savings rate multiplies it. Now, here's where the timeline gets really interesting. Assuming no starting balance and using long-term historical market averages, let's say a 10% savings rate produces a retirement timeline of roughly 33 years. At 20%, it drops to about 25 years. At 40%, about 16 years. At 60%, around 10. The 10-year timeline requires a 60% savings rate. For most people, that sounds impossible. For a commission earner who had a $200,000 year and committed in advance to living off of $80,000, it's exactly what the math describes. Guys, I've done it myself. I lived off of 25% of my income in roofing sales while committing 60% towards paying off my house in 16 months. That's not a fantasy number, and it didn't feel like a prison sentence. It's the margin between a strong commission year and a deliberately lean lifestyle, captured before the upgrade instinct can absorb it. The rate is the lever, not the market returns, not which account you use, the percentage you consistently protect from your own lifestyle. This is why keeping your living expenses lean isn't about deprivation. It's the single most controllable lever in your entire retirement timeline. Now, my wife and I, we committed to living off of $75,000 to $100,000 as we build towards $300K to $500K in annual income from the real estate business. The gap between those numbers is the engine. Every percentage point of lifestyle restraint during the building phase is a percentage point that compounds instead of disappears. For most commissioners I've worked with, the monthly contribution target lands between $1,500 and $4,000 depending on the freedom number, the timeline, and of course the starting balance. That's the unique advantage commission income creates if the structure captures it before the month makes the decision for you. Your specific numbers comes from the calculator, not from a general range. Run it tonight. You'll have a real number before you close the laptop. The problem is never the earning capacity. It's whether the structure exists to hold the savings rate when February goes quiet. This is where most retirement planning content ends and where the commission income specific work begins. Standard retirement advice is built for salaried people. Save a fixed percentage, max the 401k, automate everything. That works when the same amount hits the account on the same day every 2 weeks. It breaks immediately on commission income. Here's the pattern. A strong month hits, you contribute generously. The pipeline goes quiet and the contributions disappear into slow month expenses. April kicks off the strong season again and the pattern repeats. The retirement account grows in fits and starts rather than consistently, which is exactly how compounding loses its power. The fix isn't discipline. It's 2 things working together. A structure that captures the right percentage before lifestyle can claim it, and more importantly, A clear reason why the target matters enough to protect when the month gets difficult. The second one is the piece most financial content skips entirely. Structures fail because people don't remember why they built them in the first place. My wife and I make every financial decision around two values: freedom and independence. Not retirement someday. Freedom now, on our terms, at our pace, without our economic situation depending on someone else's decision about us. Those values are what make it possible to live the way we do. It's not a sacrifice, it's alignment. Every dollar directed towards the freedom number is a dollar doing exactly what we decided it should do. Your version of that value might be different. It might be time with your kids. It might be never having to take a deal you don't want because you need the money. It might be the ability to walk away from a bad situation without financial panic. Whatever it is, name it before you build the structure. Each destination has a job: fixed bills, variable spending, tax reserve, guilt-free spending, and capital towards your goals. Commit to a fixed percentage of every commission check rather than a fixed dollar amount. The percentage holds. The dollar amount moves with your income automatically. A big month funds the account generously. A slow month funds it modestly. The habit survives the slow season because the decision was already made before the check landed. Here's where most retirement content gets the order wrong for someone on a 10-year timeline. The standard advice is to max tax advantage accounts first. That makes sense if you're planning to retire at 65. It creates a real problem if you're planning to be work optional at 50, because traditional retirement accounts carry early withdrawal penalties until age 59 and a half. Locking your capital in accounts you can't access without penalty for 9 years isn't an independent strategy. Let's use the $50,000 starting point and show how it actually fits into the sequence. The first question is, how much of that $50,000 belongs in the cash reserve? 6 to 12 months of bare bones living expenses is the target. If your household runs at $33,000 a year, that's roughly $16,500 to $33,000 in an accessible high-yield savings account. The cash does one job. It absorbs the variability of commission income so you never make a distressed financial decision. A slow season layoff, an unexpected expense, injury, a gap between closings, all of it lands on the reserve instead of disrupting the investment plan. Anything beyond 12 months of expenses sitting in cash is not an efficient use of assets. Keeping $300,000 in cash feels safe, but it's costing you in lost compounding on capital that should be working. There are situations where holding more makes sense. My wife and I are sitting on a larger reserve right now because we're transitioning into real estate and we want capital available when the right opportunity surfaces. That's a deliberate situational call, not a permanent posture. Whatever your number is, know the reason behind it. Peace of mind is a legitimate reason to hold more. Just be honest that it comes with an opportunity cost. After the reserve is funded, the remaining capital in that $50,000 goes towards assets that generate current income. This is the shift that separates someone building towards independence in 10 years from someone hoping a retirement account gets them there eventually. The goal isn't just accumulation, it's building income streams that run independently of your active effort so that work becomes a choice rather than a requirement. A taxable brokerage account focused on income-generating positions is the foundation. Dividend-paying index funds and broad market funds held in a taxable account have no contribution limits, no restrictions on access, and no early withdrawal penalties. The income they generate is accessible now. The growth compounds alongside it. For someone building towards independence at 50, that accessibility is the entire point. Rental property is the next layer for most people who are serious about a 10-year timeline. A single rental property generating $1,200 to $1,500 a month in net cash flow after expenses is a meaningful income stream that doesn't require you to close a deal to collect. Real estate also builds equity over time and creates depreciation benefits that can offset taxable income and keep more of your commission earnings working. It's not fully passive because property requires management even if you're paying someone else to do it, but it's a fundamentally different income structure than active selling. Other income-producing assets worth considering depending on your situation: a small business stake that generates distributions, licensing arrangements, content or course revenue, short-term rentals on property you already own. The specific asset matters less than the principal. You're building a portfolio of income streams, not a single paycheck from a single source. The reason multiple income streams matter on a 10-year timeline is stability. One source of income, even a strong one, has a single point of failure. Commission income goes quiet and a property can sit vacant for a month. When each stream is independent, the others continue running while one goes through a slow period. That redundancy is what makes independence sustainable rather than just achievable for one strong year. Retirement accounts are still worth mentioning and contributing to. If your income level and tax situation make a Roth IRA, SEP IRA, or solo 401k contribution sensible, do it. A CPA who works with self-employed earners can tell you exactly how much and which vehicle makes the most sense for your specific year. But on a 10-year independence timeline, retirement accounts are a supporting role. The income-producing assets are the main characters. You can't fund your life at 50 with money you can't touch until 59 and a half. The sequence is straightforward. Fund the cash reserve first, deploy remaining capital towards your preferred income-producing assets, whether that's your taxable brokerage account, real estate, or something else entirely. Contribute to retirement accounts where the tax situation supports it. Build enough recurring income from enough independent sources that the monthly contribution target gets easier to hit every single year, not harder. Commission income funds the early phase. The income-producing assets take more of the weight over time. Eventually, the assets are generating enough that the commission income becomes optional. That transition is financial independence, and it's not a number, but rather a spectrum. Even covering one small bill is a solid milestone to shoot for in the beginning. The key point is that the account and asset selection should match your actual timeline and your actual definition of financial independence, not a generic framework built for someone who plans to retire at 65. Let me show you how clean the math actually is before we close. If you're earning $150,000 net after taxes and you commit to living off of $50,000, you have $100,000 a year directed towards building. At that savings rate, you hit $1 million in invested and accumulated assets in roughly 10 years, and that's before compounding does any additional work on top of what you're putting in. The math is not complicated. It's almost embarrassingly straightforward once you run it. The hard part has nothing to do with the math. It's deciding to live off of $50,000 when you're earning $150,000. That gap, $100,000 a year sitting between what you earn and what you spend, is where the real work happens. And that decision looks completely different depending on who's making it. For some people, $50,000 genuinely feels impossible. Their fixed costs are already beyond that number. Their housing, their debt obligations give them no room. That's a real constraint, and it deserves an honest conversation about which of those commitments can be restructured over time. For others, $50,000 is absolutely livable, and the resistance is purely psychological. The lifestyle has expanded to fill the income, and pulling it back feels like losing something rather than choosing something. That's less of a budget problem and more of a priority problem. The math says it works. It always did. The question is what you're willing to commit to and how clear you are on why the goal matters enough to protect it when the good months arrive and the upgrade instinct kicks in. My household costs $35,000 to run at the time of this filming, and my wife and I are committed to living off a defined amount while building our real estate business and directing the rest towards assets. That decision isn't about deprivation. It's about knowing exactly what we're building and letting that clarity make the financial decisions for us. Nobody achieves financial independence by accident. You have to choose it deliberately, and then you protect that choice every time the income gives you an excuse not to. Hey, Roof Money Pros, if this video turned an abstract retirement goal into a number you can run tonight, that's where it starts. I'm curious where you are on this. Drop in the comments which FIRE version resonates with you, where you're at in your journey. And get the free Feast or Famine Survival Guide, which walks you through the income planning foundation for sales reps so you know exactly what you'll need to do to hit your income goals before you try to direct any of it towards a freedom number. I'll leave the link in the description. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and remember, you're just one roof away